Guys, it's so hot outside that I'm not even wearing a proper shirt. I'm wearing a tank top right now. I don't want to go all Jersey Shore Guido and stuff, but I had absolutely no choice. It's 100 degrees in New Jersey. It's 102 North Carolina, and I don't know how hot it is in Texas, but knowing how Texas gets hot pretty. Kevin, please tell me any temperature, please.
I think it's like around like 98 the last time I checked.
That's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we said this in a do's or don'ts in the summer. If you don't be like me and be an idiot and don't wear sunscreen.
Yeah,
Please
I don't know
don't.
why anyone wants sunscreen. That was completely a you thing.
That was an all me thing. I did something completely dumb. So please don't be like me. Anyways, we got 2 hours of sports content to get into. Let's play the intro. Let's get into it all. Let's do it.
Flag football's almost as bad as amateur wrestling.
There's a lot that needs to be fixed.
What are we even hearing about?
Tiny rant here. I can't. Brian Cashman is as dumb as a doornail.
The U.S. will beat Canada in the gold medal game. Guarantee!
Get Anthony Volpe off of my team.
Just give me my team.
All right. So there's only one thing we could title this video, given the time of day, given the time of year, and given the circumstances. This is episode 52. It's entitled Semiquincentennial, which probably didn't hit the English dictionary until a couple months ago. But anyways, Matt Siriani, Kevin Zelicskovics, Alec Nava. Gentlemen, how are you?
Oh, I'm so thrilled. So thrilled. That's a lot of chaos over at the World Cup. Lots of chaos in the NBA and lots of chaos in the NHL. Woo!
Yep. So it's honestly like it's been insane news-wise, and then we also got the Wimbledon tournament going on, a couple upsets there. A lot's been going on. Now we're not going to get much into Wimbledon, but a little quick recapper. Ben Shelton going down in round one was probably the biggest upset of the tournament so far. The American men are still struggling. They have like one side of the bracket where there's like maybe 2 or 3 people left on the American side. The women of America are doing the best they can. You know, I think Iva Jovic is holding her own. Pegula is doing good so far. And then Coco Gauff just continues to prove that grass is suspect for her. But overall, the women are doing okay. Here's to tomorrow. Anyways, we're going to start off with the World Cup right now. We were going to initially start with the NBA, but this is the perfect place to start, given the fact that this tournament has been like the talk of the sports world for the last 24 hours plus. So I'm going to reveal the results. But actually, before we actually get into results, we're going to go over one game in particular that really stood out for probably all the wrong reasons. And it was yesterday's game between Portugal and Croatia. So this was a game that ended 2-1 with Portugal scoring in extra time in the 94th minute. Croatia thought they had a goal to match it in extra time, but then it was ruled off. But then the goal was taken away after it was declared offsides on the player approaching the net. It would have been tied 2-2 and probably would have gone to even more time, probably at the 120-minute mark, if that goal had counted, but it didn't count. And Alec has been all over this goal and the controversy surrounding the call. Alec, please explain your thoughts.
So, Josko Gavardio thought he had the tying goal to send it over to extra time to tie it at 2 apiece after Gonzalo Ramos had a stoppage time header in the 4th minute of stoppage time in the second half. But from how it was seen at first glance, it looked like that it was touched right off the back of the head, but ever so slightly. But the camera angle that was just showed, what was the touching on the back of the head? Well, but it should be noted that FIFA does have a chip used as technology to track when the ball is being touched by players. And we do want to wonder, at what point was it ever touched? from one screen cap, there's a little wave where it says it was touched at the moment of which it was. However, doesn't seem like there was much touching around. It feels like was there an error on the chip's part? Because most of the contact came from the Brazilian defender Renato Veiga, the left center back. But it was batted down. I don't think it was ever touched by Igor Matanovic on the cross, who was the man who was right in front trying to get the header inside. But the man who was right across the last Portuguese defender, Mario Pasalic, who he had a clean chance. And it looked like there was enough there to show that it wasn't offside based on the lack of contact. But, it feels like Croatia did get screwed over here. And Luka Modric, in his last ride, gets eliminated in the first round after Cristiano Ronaldo's first ever knockout stage goal in, you guessed it, a penalty kick. And granted, it took a VAR review to get awarded the penalty kick because it was a clear shove at the back.
Right.
So, and that you cannot do. But Croatia had this one, and I can understand losing a game because you can't get a shot on goal, but losing because of a controversial offside call, that's the sort of pain.
Yeah, that stuff's heartbreaking, especially because through 53 minutes, it looked like Croatia had this one, and then Portugal rallied back. But there's nothing more gut-wrenching than losing on a no call. That's the worst thing in any sport, whether it's soccer, football, whatever. Like, losing on a no call is probably the worst way to go out, especially for Croatia, who played their hearts out. And Kevin, I know you probably saw the call while it's been all over ESPN the last several hours or so. But how do you make of this whole thing?
Quick little update before I even give my thoughts. Argentina just scored and won the game in extra time.
No, it's not a winner. We continue on with extra time. There's no golden goal rule.
I forgot. Yeah, Argentina just scored, so they're up 2-1. I'll say that first.
Okay.
And my thoughts for the game itself, Portugal-Croatia. It was a tightly contested battle. Like I think most of us had predicted that it was going to be a close game. Yep. It was 1-1 for a good while until like the closing minutes, and then Portugal took a 2-1 lead. Now, I think that absolutely yes. I think that Croatia did get screwed on that call that the ball was touched, and that they did call it offsides whenever he did touch it. But I might be in the slight minority saying that I don't think Croatia shouldn't even gotten that chance, because when that controversial call occurred, it occurred 7 extra minutes after the 10 minutes of stoppage time already ended. So I feel like the whistle should have already been blown way beforehand, before that even Croatia should have even gotten a chance. So I think Portugal should have won this game anyway. And luckily, they ended up winning in the end. So at least the proper team won here. But I do absolutely think that, at least in my opinion, I didn't think that the guy touched the ball. Now, I understand that, like Alex said, there's, they have a chip on the ball and it can detect like if it was touching or not. Didn't look like it to me, like watching on the TV firsthand. But I obviously understand the frustrations if you're like a Croatia fan, or if you think that like there's like some officiating, stuff like nonsense like that. But I think absolutely that Portugal, I think, should have already won, and Croatia shouldn't even got that chance.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I remember you saying something like that. First off, it took forever to get the review off.
Yeah.
They took forever to review that call. So I can understand your side of the story, where it's like, okay, maybe Croatia shouldn't have had that chance because, one, it occurred way too late after the call was made, and two, Croatia blew a 1-goal lead late. So really it wasn't. So that's something that I guess, like, here's my opinion on the whole thing. Maybe the chip did have a little bit of a malfunction, because the guy did not touch the ball at all. Yes, he was offside. But it shouldn't matter if he was offside if the ball doesn't touch. Contact is very important in soccer.
Yeah,
so,
there was no contact there.
There was no contact at all. So I think the refs got it wrong here. I think that we probably could have had this game go on for another. We probably could have gone to penalty kicks in this one for what it's worth. But I think the right team won. I hate to say it to Croatia fans, but I think that They had their chances, and unfortunately, they didn't convert. And then the one chance they had, they probably shouldn't have had.
Yeah, I was covering this game on Twitch, and I was thinking of Croatia needs a miracle. Of course, you know how Kenny Albert used the phrase "Stanford band nowhere in sight" in football.
Right. Yeah.
It felt like that.
It really did. It really did. Now, another game we're going to get into is a comeback game, probably the biggest comeback of the tournament so far. I'm talking about Senegal and Belgium. Senegal had a 2-goal lead in 85 minutes into the game, and then Belgium just surged back with a goal in the 86th minute by Romelu Lukaku, and then Tielemans in the 89th minute. And then again in the 120th plus in the 125th minute. So Yori scored 2 goals that were the deciding factor. 3 unanswered goals. Senegal had this one in the bag, but they couldn't close it out. Very unfortunate. Belgium moves on. They're playing the United States in round 2. Alec, your thoughts?
About the Belgian game, Senegal collapsed badly there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. After Habib Diarra and Ismaila Sarr scored, then Romelu. There was a fight during the hydration break in the second half at the Belgian bench. Do keep that in mind before that comeback even started. Yuri Tielemans sparked that comeback with the equalizer. And keep in mind, it took a lengthy review for a penalty kick and an injury to a player to have that penalty kick be scored in the 5th minute of stoppage time in the second half of extra time. And that really screwed up Senegal and their confidence. Senegal did walk off the Africa Cup of Nations final in protest of Morocco being awarded a late spot kick, but there were no such antics. You have to hold up defensively. Belgium took full advantage, and it was by a team in which Kevin De Bruyne was more of a non-factor for the Belgians heading into their match with the United States. And for the United States, yes, there was a controversial red card on Flo Balogun, who's been sensational in this tournament, but that was not enough to be delivered a red. Perhaps a yellow would be enough, but that's not a red. If that's a red, then Lionel Messi tripping up what the players in the group stage is a red. It's hypocrisy at its finest from FIFA. But the United States did what we did and took care of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And Malik Tillman picked up.
He did.
Yeah. He picked up where Balogun left off with a long free kick that made to the back of the net in home soil at San Francisco.
You know, you mentioned the USA Bosnia Herzegovina game. First off, USA, they started off strong, and then Bosnia tried to put a little bit of pressure on. And then I think towards the end, Bosnia got a little bit frustrated. I think their coach got a yellow card, and one of the players got a yellow card that led to the free kick, which, as you mentioned, USA took advantage of. And now USA is going to have to face Belgium without Balogun, which I think is going to be really huge because he's been on fire this tournament.
Yeah, that means Ricardo Pepi needs to step up because he's going to play the role that Balogun is going to be vacated. But Christian Pulisic, he doesn't need to be at his absolute best because Balogun has stepped up big time. Now we need to see more from Pulisic in this second game.
Yes, so I think Belgium can still present a tough challenge for the U.S. because Belgium proved that they're resilient. They were down that big deficit against Senegal. So anytime you come back in a game like that, you have a little bit of mojo on your side. So I think if you're Belgium, you can present a challenge, especially because the U.S. is going to be shorthanded. But I still think it should be a competitive matchup. Now, we mentioned a couple matchups. We got a couple more. Paraguay, not Paris. If you remember watching last episode, you'll know where I was going. Paraguay upset Germany in penalty kicks 4-3 after it was tied at 1. That was a shock, probably the biggest shock of the tournament so far. And then Morocco upset the Netherlands, which is also a big of a shock. Brazil beat Japan 2-1. That was on the first day of the knockout rounds. But let's actually focus on that Paraguay-Germany game because, Alec, I think you were going to weigh in on that.
That was the 4th largest upset by FIFA World Rankings of all time. Germany was ranked 10th. Paraguay was ranked 41st. And I'll say this for the very least. When you have an upset of this magnitude, there's going to be a lot of national shame throughout one country, the country that's being upset. But Paraguay held up their own defensively. And Julian Nagelsmann, as a result of this disappointment, was sacked as Germany's manager. Jurgen Klopp is rumored to be the frontliner for the managerial job with Germany. But that is just bad, especially on that penalty kick from Jonathan Tah. He was offside on what could have been the go-ahead goal from Germany in extra time, and he pulled a Gabriel in the penalty shootout. For those who don't know, pulling a Gabriel means you miss a penalty kick badly over the crossbar. That's the type of brutality that you don't recover from, and changes need to be made. Manuel Neuer was terrific in 2014, but now it's time for him to walk away from the sport. He's 40 years old, and there needs to be a new goalkeeper for the Germans.
I will say this. Whenever you suffer an upset loss of this magnitude, you got to look in the mirror a little bit and say, wow, we really – first off, Paraguay was the second worst third-place team to get in to the knockout round. So they really fought hard, and they really did the unthinkable. Because, Kevin, I think you mentioned Germany was one of your 5 teams that you had possibly winning, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was just as shocked as everybody else. I mean, the 5 teams that I had that you're precluding were Germany, France, Norway, Argentina, and Netherlands. And both the Netherlands and Germany both got knocked out.
Correct.
Unprecedentedly in the first round by Paraguay and Morocco, respectively. But yeah, definitely a tremendous shock. And I think Germany definitely was definitely disappointing. And I don't understand. When I saw those penalty kicks, I'm like, oh my goodness. How do you punt the ball on a penalty kick? Like, I never understood that. You either kick left or you kick right. And the goalie either guesses correct or not. I mean, like, you don't need to punt the ball like it's a field goal. It's a wrong sport. We're not playing American football. We're playing regular football. Just kick the ball up to the left or right. And then, like, the goalie either guesses right or wrong. I mean, like, he really shot himself in the foot with that one, like that German player. But you know what? Even in the Netherlands Morocco penalties, that happened too. So I can't really blame it too much. But that guy's probably going to think about that for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Like, one thing I will say about the World Cup is that you're representing your country, and if you do let them down in some way, shape, or form, I've never seen penalty kicks that bad in my life. It was just – and what's funny, you mentioned the NFL. There are some soccer-style kickers in the NFL. Yes?
Cape Verde.
Oh, my goodness. Cape Verde has scored again.
He just tied it.
Oh, my God. Okay. We're going to keep an eye on this one. I did not expect that. So, Cape Verde tied it at 2.
Correct. At the 103rd minute.
On the 103rd minute. So, there's still, I think, 17 minutes left in stoppage time until they go to penalty kicks.
Oh,
wow, man.
And the players in the stands celebrating with the fans.
Wow.
You know how much this means to this country.
Oh, yeah. A country with 500,000 people.
You know what? Forget Paraguay upsetting Germany. If Cape Verde upsets Argentina right now, that's
number one. That's the number one upset ever.
Number one. And that guy Bozina, he's gonna get a big contract somewhere else, wherever he's playing.
He will.
He's 40 years old. He's gonna get a statue at Cape Verde.
Dude,
he will. And keep in mind, it's not even just Argentina, the number one country in FIFA. It's also the fact that you have an MLS player and legend in Lionel Messi. If you don't know, Lionel Messi also does spend some time with Inter Miami at the MLS level. So,
yeah,
Argentina is loaded with talent, and they have the players to prove it. So, we're going to keep an eye on this matchup. But we got to weigh in on a couple other things before we actually dive in. Now, there's 17 minutes left in stoppage time until they go to penalty kicks, as mentioned. Unless a goal is scored by either side, we're going to penalty kicks.
Dude, what a shot. A wonder kick.
That goal was insane.
You're telling me about it. A wonder kick. Shades of Jermaine Jones in 2014.
That was insane. He kicked it so far and it curved so much.
Yeah.
Hey, if you get a good curve, that's all it takes.
Oh my goodness, that was nuts.
Okay. So we're going to go through the bracket, what's happened in round 1. So outside of Cape Verde and Argentina, the only other matchup we're waiting on is Colombia and Ghana. That will go on at 9:30 Eastern time. So that's the last matchup, and then we've officially concluded with the first round. Now we're going to go into other matchups that have concluded. Now, we mentioned a few of them. France dispatched Sweden 3-0. Canada, in the opening round of the knockout round, beat South Africa 1-0 in the 92nd minute. Congrats to Canada and our Canadian friends, Randy Coulray, David Smith Armchair. Morocco beat the Netherlands in penalty kicks. We mentioned that. Portugal, we mentioned that. Spain beat Austria 3-0. Again, easy. The U.S. men's national team beat Bosnia and Herzegovina. Brazil beat Japan. Mentioned that. Norway got past Ivory Coast. Barely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Barely got past them. Mexico beat Ecuador 2-0. England beat Congo DR 2-1, although Congo DR got the wind knocked out of their sails late.
They pressed me. Although I knew they were going to lose, they look pretty
Nice
legit.
save.
Yeah. And then earlier today, Egypt beat Australia in penalty kicks. And Australia had some pretty bad penalty kicks watching that game back. And then
someone else pay tribute to Gabriel.
And then Switzerland beat Algeria. So those are all the matchups that have gone so far. Again, we're waiting on this game, Argentina, Cape Verde, and also Colombia, Ghana. Oh my God. Do I even say we call an audible and have you guys call the rest of the Cape Verde Argentina game?
I don't know any of the players. I'm just looking to see if they score or not.
Okay, fine. We won't do that. We won't do that.
But if they score, I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll keep track of score updates, and if they go to penalty kicks, then we'll probably dive into that. But
yeah, so if it's a penalty kick, that's when the audible comes in.
That's when the audible will come in if they go to penalty kicks.
All right. Gonzalo Montiel's coming in. This is Argentina's last substitution. He'll be replacing Noel Molina.
I gotta tell you, so coming in, Argentina was ranked number 1 in FIFA. Cape Verde was ranked number 67, which I'm gonna keep it that way.
It's just a number, Alec.
No, Alec. No.
Yeah. That's the PTSD look.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have said anything. What was I thinking?
I mean, that is.
Gen Alpha. You gotta keep your cool.
Oh my God. I'll never forget the episode when Jake Hogger was doing it.
Oh, well, prediction time, folks.
Okay. All right. I think we'll go into prediction, and then we'll go into the round 16 matchups. All right. I think Argentina wins in penalty kicks. I hate to be a downer, but if Cape Verde can't score in the next 15 minutes, I think that Argentina takes us in penalty kicks. They're really good at penalty kicks. They got arguably the best player in the world. And as much as I love the story of Cape Verde, I just don't see them pulling off penalty kicks.
Yep.
I would have to say same.
Alec, your thoughts?
Same thing. Penalty kicks.
Okay. We will return. All right. So now we're going to get into the round of 16 and the matches that are confirmed. So we're going to start off. Oh, wow. What I thought was Paris versus Paris, France in the round of 16. Anyway, Paraguay versus France in the round of 16. That's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Not the first matchup of the day, but it's one of the round of 16 matches that I'll be playing tomorrow. What are your predictions, guys?
France wins 3-0.
Alec?
France. Any questions? I'll go 4-0.
I'll say France 2-0. Then we got Canada and Morocco. That's at 1:00 p.m.
Morocco 2-1.
2-1. Yep, same thing.
I'm going to say Morocco 2-1 in extra stoppage time. Portugal and Spain.
That's a tough one because I feel like that's going to be a really tough contested matchup too. I'll say Spain 3-2.
Okay.
Spain wins this one. I'll go 3-2 as well. I had that same thinking. 3-2.
I'll say Spain 3-1.
That's
be a little bit different.
Okay.
I'll be different. Next up, we got U.S. and Belgium.
U.S. 2-1.
Pulling it
United
off. Okay.
States. United States 1-0.
I'm going to say United States 1-0 as well. Brazil and Norway.
I think that one goes to penalty kicks. I think Norway wins in penalty kicks. 3-2.
Norway and penalties.
Brazil in penalty kicks as well. I'll say after a 2-2 draw.
All right. I'm going to say Norway in penalty kicks after a 2-2 draw. And I think in penalty kicks, Norway wins 4-3.
Nice.
Mexico and England. This should be a little bit easy.
Mexico 3-1.
Me gusta mis frijoles. Es con molletes. I'll take Mexico 2-1 in extra time.
What were you saying there? I like beans with something.
Well, I tried to find something to say refried beans, but I prefer molletes. I prefer molletes, which have refried beans. But,
Okay.
Sorry if I couldn't get the pronunciation correct.
Okay, because I got the frijoles con, but like I didn't know what this was.
All right. So before we make a prediction, I gotta say this. Yo no hablo en español. Yo estudié español 4 años en la escuela.
Same, ditto.
If you're a Spanish person, you probably know what that means. But I'm gonna say Mexico 2-1.
Oh, I got it. Me gustan mis frijoles refritos.
There you go. There you go.
Now, I wonder if actual traditional Spanish people use Google Translate nowadays. Oh, well, no. If you're American and you have to speak Spanish, a lot of people use Google Translate. I try not to, but I know there's some people out there who are guilty of it. Now, in fairness, when I do my Italian translations, I always go to Google Translate when I'm doing my Italian stuff for NJ Italian Stallions.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with it.
This segment is brought to you by Bumble. Or not Bumble.
Babble?
Babble. Thank you very much.
Bumble is something else completely.
Bumble's completely different. I don't know where that came from. I was thinking Babble. Thank you.
Babble, yeah.
Babble. That's a very useful app, by the way. If you're traveling outside of the United States, I'd highly recommend Babble.
Duolingo's better. It has every single language ever.
Oh, it does?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Babel only has like the main languages, but Duolingo has every language.
Yes, they do. Oh, and they also have chess.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Duolingo is where I learned my chess.
They have Klingon on there. Klingon. I'm telling you, it's every language.
Really? They're that well rounded?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single one you can think of, Duolingo has it.
Gosh.
Man.
That's pretty amazing.
So
the winner of Cape Verde, Argentina will face Egypt, and the winner of Colombia and Ghana will face Switzerland. As a little update there.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I did look at the bracket. Now I want that in mind because if Egypt faces Argentina, Argentina's winning. But if it's Cape Verde, Egypt's winning.
Yes. Cape Verde, I agree.
I think so, yeah.
Now, on the other hand, for Switzerland, they'll face either Colombia or Ghana. Mm-hmm. If they face Colombia, Colombia is winning that. If it's Ghana,
Switzerland wins.
I think Ghana wins this.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
I like that. Bold. We've had a couple upsets. Why not one more?
Yeah.
Especially this one. Which, by the way, a little update on that. Argentina's got a free kick coming.
Oh, I'm ahead of you. I already saw it.
Yeah, I'm ahead of you too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I already saw it.
I am relying on my phone for this one because I don't want my TV blasting in front of me because then it'll cut off.
Oh yeah, and besides, I have it tuned into the Telemundo feed because I want to listen to the legends of Andres Cantor.
Oh yeah, especially for the World Cup. That's a perfect way to listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get back into World Cup when we get to the final result of Argentina Cape Verde. But before we do, we're going to get into the NBA because there's been a lot of acquisitions. We're going to start off with the biggest news of the NBA. And It revolves around a guy who I wish just retires already. LeBron James has made his case very clear that he intends to play in the 2026-2027 season, but he intends to play it with another team, not the Lakers. Now, in response, the Lakers did make some moves. They signed Walker Kessler. They signed Sandro Mamu Kalashevsky. They signed Quentin Grimes. They signed Colin Sexton. So they really are trying to surround Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves with the best talent they possibly can. But in my personal opinion, if you're the Lakers, you're probably glad that LeBron James is gone because he's not as good as he used to be. Now, there have been rumors that the Knicks are interested, and all I can say is please don't.
Well, that's debunked now. If it weren't for that championship,
debunked.
then he's not going there. So the Knicks news, that's debunked. Now, who would have guessed that the moment that he leaves the Lakers, let's open up the bank. Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, Quentin Grimes, and Sandro Mamukelashvili. Here you go. Get your paychecks. Now we're gonna get you on to the lineup. Sexton, you can go off the bench. Grimes, you'll be getting starting duties.
Mm-hmm.
And they also traded away DeAndre Ayton.
They had to. He was garbage.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
So the Lakers made a lot of good moves. Yeah,
a liability in every sense of the word, and they're not missing much. And Washington doesn't need to adjust their starting lineup with him with him being traded there because Alex Sarr is at the 5.
Right.
And Wizards have like 4 bigs now. They have Alex Sarr. They have just got AJ DeBonsa. They just got Anthony Davis, and now they have DeAndre Ayton. They got plenty of bigs now.
They got a lot of bigs.
Yeah,
they got a lot of bigs. Now, one of them is questionable because I don't know if Anthony Davis can stay healthy anymore. What?
Argentina just scored.
Oh.
All right. On the corner, there it is.
Well,
110th minute.
Well, now Cape Verde needs to respond fast.
Well, literally, that goal just reminded me of when Roma scored on Barcelona.
Right.
The Champions League in 2018. Mm-hmm. Well, that's PTSD I don't want to remember because I myself am a Barcelona fan.
Right. Let's not revisit that past.
Yeah, let's go to the present.
Let's go to the present.
Yamal.
So, we have some other acquisitions for other teams. John Morant was now traded to the Portland Trailblazers. He'll be paired with Damian Lillard. Although I must say, once upon a time, John Morant was a huge deal and one of the best athletes in the league. Now he's just almost like an afterthought. And it all started when he got that 25-game suspension. The Grizzlies kind of saw the writing on the wall. They had to do away with him. Now, the Blazers, I think, are a decent team. We talked about them last episode, how they made the playoffs this past season. So adding John Morant, I think, is a pretty good move. I think the problem is John Morant going to be in a good mental headspace?
That's one way to put it. Plus, the Trailblazers are envisioning starting 2 point guards at the same time. Not just John Morant, but also Damian Lillard. If they're not putting Dame on the bench. Because also keep in mind, Drew Holiday is also there for Portland. Or you move Holiday to the bench so as to adjust the starting lineup around. Now, the front court is set with Danny Avdia and Donovan Quingen. The other piece to this is Shaedon Sharpe, who I think should go at the 3 or the 4, depending on how Micah Nori wants to put it. Oh, yeah. I mentioned Micah Nori because he's the new head coach of the Trailblazers.
Yep. They did not keep the interim guy for that took over Chauncey Billups' role.
Well, I feel Tom Dunn want to envision a permanent solution. And I feel Micah Nori could be it because Splitter was intended to be on an interim basis the way he sees it. And do keep in mind, Nori was part of Chris Finch's staff. And Chris Finch is a really good head coach himself. So he sees Nori as an improvement over Splitter. And I think I can see the logic behind hiring Nori because I think it can provide an improvement to Portland. And they want to take that next step. And this is the way to do it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a good approach. I'm still trying to figure out why they didn't at least give Splitter another year and before letting him go. But, I digress.
They're trying to copy the Knicks.
Well, trying to copy the Knicks.
Probably.
Exactly.
Everyone's trying to copy us now.
Yep. Okay. Next signing we have the New York Knicks did win the NBA title, but unfortunately, when you win the NBA title, one of the biggest challenges is keeping the key pieces that helped you get there. And unfortunately, they had to pay a huge price. Mitchell Robinson is now a Boston Celtic. And unfortunately, actually, the good thing is for the Knicks, if you can't hack him Mitch anymore, and he won't miss free throws for you. So that's the good thing. The bad thing is that Mitchell Robinson was one of your better defensive players on the team. He may have such shooting free throws, but he was a very good defensive big. And he was very good whenever Karl-Anthony Towns was not on the floor. So you're going to miss that defensive presence. However, Boston, I think, got themselves a really good big.
Yeah, they did. And yeah, it does suck that we couldn't get Mitchell Robinson back. And I think that the front office and Leon Rose wanted him back, but
Right.
James Dolan doesn't want to go over the second apron for financial reasons to bring Mitchell Robinson the entire core back. So that's more on Dolan than Rose. I think Rose and the front office really wanted him back, but Dolan vetoed against it because he doesn't want to go over the second apron. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't blame Mitchell Robinson for going where he did. He got his bag. I want to say thank you, Mitch, for all the years you've been with us from the very beginning, since 2018, back when it was very bad, and you were there for us to help us win our first championship in 53 years. So thank you, Mitch. Gonna miss you, buddy, but now I got to turn my back on you because now you're on. And yeah, at the time, I did think that Boston got a good player, but I don't think that he's going to be as coveted as I think they are going to expect him to, because you got to remember, Mitchell Robinson is terrible at free throws. In fact, he has the literal worst free throw shooting percentage in NBA playoff history. He's super bad. It doesn't matter how much he practices it. He's not going to get you two
Terrible
free throws. It'll be a once in a blue moon. He'll get you two free throws in a row. But you love him for his offensive rebounding, and you love him for his defense. Also, a big risk is that he is very injury prone. There have been a multitude of games this season for the Knicks where he has gotten himself hurt, and that the Knicks have lost games because they lack his presence. And I also think, now this is just a theory, obviously James Dolan didn't want to go pay Mitchell Robinson to go over the second apron, but I also wonder if there's more to it than that. I wonder if they also wanted to get rid of – they want to justify paying Mitchell Robinson because you got to remember, he broke his pinky before heading into the NBA Finals. Now that was according to the Knicks and the league sources at the time. He injured himself on his own. It wasn't during a practice. It wasn't during a game. It was on his own time. So he must have punched something or whatever that caused the pinky injury. And maybe I feel that James Dolan felt like he jeopardized the team and almost cost them a potential to win a title because he got himself hurt. Now, luckily, he was able to tape it up and get in there and do what he did. But I wonder if James Dolan wanted to justify not paying him because of that reason, because of himself getting hurt. So, and again, it sucks, but news just came out today that his immediate replacement, the Knicks just signed Andre Drummond, who's the Philadelphia 76ers. And it's also been reported as early as today that the Knicks are also targeting, if he becomes available, Jonas Valanciunas as a third possible option. Now, the Knicks were looking at him last trade deadline, but they couldn't, get a deal done. Now it seems like they're going to try to get him if he becomes available, so you can have Andre Drummond as your main backup, and then Valanciunas as a third backup option, and of course Cat as your starting center. So Knicks are trying to find Mitchell Robinson replacements, and the good thing is Andre Drummond and Valanciunas, if they do end up getting him, can both shoot free throws, something that Mitchell Robinson lacked. But obviously, Mitchell Robinson's defensive presence is definitely going to be downgraded a little bit. But you also got to keep in mind that before Cat was brought in here, they had Isaiah Hartenstein, and they made it pretty far when they did with him. So I feel like you don't really have to try as hard to another Mitchell Robinson. I feel like if you just find any big that can defend fine and shoot free throws, I feel like you're going to end up having a decent backup option. Because if you really think about it, Mitchell Robinson is the only guy that they haven't brought back. As
Yes.
well, I guess I should say Jordan Clarkson too. But I feel like they might move off from him and get someone else because
Right.
they did re-sign Jose Alvarado. They did re-sign
Mhm.
Landry Shamet. You love to see that. I think the only guy they haven't brought back yet or extended is Deuce McBride, who I really want back. But they might use him as a trade piece to try to get another center in here. I don't want that to happen, but I like as far as what Leon Rose has done as far as replacements and bringing some guys back. I can't be unhappy with what I've been seeing so far.
I think that Mitchell Robinson, like, I think the Andre Drummond thing. The only thing I'm going to say about Andre Drummond that could be negative, he's up there in age, but he can still give you good minutes for Karl-Anthony Towns. And he gave you good minutes in Philadelphia for Joel Embiid, and I think that maybe he still has something left in the tank and something to give.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the main thing. Now, you mentioned them keeping Landry Shamet. You mentioned them keeping Jose Alvarado. That was huge. They also drafted Tyler Nickel out of Vanderbilt. That was also big.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Knicks draft. I like what they kept so far. Deuce McBride is going to be like the big player that they're looking at as to whether or not they're going to keep him around. Whether or not that happens, I'm not sure. But like the champions always got to pay a little bit of price when they win a title.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also keep in mind that the champs, they did bring back both Landry Shamet and Jose Alvarado. Shamet gets 4 years, 24 mil. Alvarado 3 years, north of 14 mil. And you speak of defense, Alvarado provides that.
Yeah. So I think overall, I think the Knicks did a good job so far this offseason. I can't really complain about that. Now we're going to go to Alec's team because there were a couple of free agents that the Houston Rockets signed. They got Bogdan Bogdanovic as well as Marcus Smart. Alec, how do you feel?
Not just those two. We also brought back Tari Eason. By the way, 3 minutes of stoppage time in the Argentina-Cape Verde matchup. We've seen players knock over each other, and those could have been injuries. We have a quarter kick here for Cape Verde, and Lisandro Martinez is hurt.
Ooh.
Yeah, right after one of the Cape Verde players got hurt. It seems that Lisandro may be all right. We don't know, but Bogdanovic was coming off what is easily the worst season of his career. But these two players are three-point shooters with significant injury risks, both Bogdanovic and Smart. Bogdanovic ruptured his hamstring playing for Serbia at Eurobasket and was bothered by the injury for much of the year. Also developed a hip problem in the fall. 38.8% shooting from the field was easily a career low. He shot 34.7% on threes, but he has a solid track record as a shooter, secondary ball handler, and a playmaker. Now, I don't know if this is going to work out well because of the injury risk that he imposes and the fact that he's coming off the worst season of his career, but also, do keep in mind, we backed out with Marcus Smart. He was one of the big reasons why we fell in the opening round. Shooting was their big Achilles heel. The Lakers had 3-point shooting. We did not. And here, Marcus Smart provides 3-point shooting and defense. Ime Udoka likes defense. And he brought both of those, shooting and defense, onto the fray. Once again, injury issues are a concern because Smart has his history of injuries over the past. And we speak of injuries, Fred VanVleet's returning from an ACL tear.
Right.
Last but not least, Tari Eason, 5 years, $81.5 million, fully guaranteed. He's going to be coming off the bench as he was again. His stop and start availability has limited his development to some extent, but 3-point shooting is what we need here. He's reliable as a 3-point shooter off the bench. A cold spell in February and March brought his 3-point percentage down to 35.8%, but he made 44% the rest of the season. But keep in mind, the Rockets identified a weakness, 3-point shooting. And we successfully identified that by bringing back Eason, signing in Smart, and drafting Bruce Thornton, who we covered last episode.
All right. Well, I think it's a big risk taking guys like Bogdan Bogdanovic and Marcus Smart. I think you mentioned you got to stay healthy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But these are players like the Houston Rockets can't get any worse than what they were last year, where they were out in the first round of the playoffs, almost humiliated. But like at this point, like you gotta try and throw something to the wall and see what sticks when you're making these acquisitions. And I think that Houston, we'll see what happens there. Now, 2 more signings I want to get into. Philadelphia acquired Jaylen Brown via trade, and they sent Paul George to Boston. First off, I don't get this at all. I don't know what the Boston Celtics are doing. First off, if you were going to trade Jaylen Brown away, which they've been trying to do for quite a while, why? Yes, Kev?
Argentina has won. It is final. They won 3-2.
So Cape Verde with a spirited effort, but unfortunately they will fall short. But back to Jaylen Brown for a second. I don't understand what the Boston Celtics are trying to do. They've been trying to trade Jaylen Brown for a little bit, and to me, I just don't get it. You have your core four: Pritchard, White, Brown, Tatum. Those are 4 players that you can't touch. For some reason, they were trying to trade Jaylen Brown away. Okay, you want to trade Jaylen Brown away? Why don't you get Tyrese Maxey back for him? Paul George is the opposite player you should be getting. Paul George, we mentioned injury risk. He has a huge injury risk. He's not as good as he used to be. And he just doesn't bowl well for that Boston Celtics lineup. So, Kevin, please tell me, try to make sense of all this.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. That's why all I can do is laugh, because the Celtics, like, they're trying so hard to make a good deal and try to say that, we need to upgrade because we don't feel. Brian Windhorst's words, not mine. He said that Celtics don't feel confident that they can beat the Knicks as currently constructed now, because they've shown that they couldn't in a playoff setting. They couldn't even get to us because they blew a 3-1 lead in their series against Philadelphia. And yes, they decided to get Mitchell Robinson. That's a good signing. And they drafted Matt Jr. And you guys know he played for my UH Cougars. And I know his pros and his flaws, Chris Sinaks, because I've seen him. He's been on my team. Like, when he's good, pretty good. When he's bad, he's very bad. It's like he's very wishy-washy. He'll either give you like 20 points, then the next game he'll give you 5 points. And so he's very inconsistent, but we'll see how he does for Boston. Anyway, seems like everything was on the right track. And then I hear like the Jaylen Brown rumors and like in the Giannis rumors, right? And then like, okay, well, if you're going to I don't see the reason why you would trade for Jaylen Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then I saw like the package that, like the Heat were offering for him. And ended up getting him. And then I'm like, why? I don't know. Wow, that's crazy that the Celtics didn't get him. And then I see why. It's because that Brad Stevens didn't feel comfortable including Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman in the package, or else they would have easily gotten Giannis. I'm like, okay, that's ridiculous. I would have just included them in there and then get Giannis. But then they ended up, not only did they not end up getting Giannis, they ended up trading Jaylen Brown to a rival that they just blew a 3-1 lead.
Yes.
And they traded him for Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. They didn't even get VJ Edgecombe. They didn't get Tyrese Maxey. They got Paul George, who's way past his prime. Yeah. Nowhere even close to the player he was. It is an absolute fleece job by the Philadelphia 76ers. I have absolutely no clue what Brad Stevens was doing. I thought he was smarter than that, because there's no way you could be trading what I believe is their best player. I think that Brown is better than Tatum, in my personal opinion. He just won you a Finals MVP 2 years ago. Yeah. He named the highest paid player in the league. Why are you trading him for seemingly nothing for a player who's way past his prime? Dude, this is the SGA trade all over again, because the Clippers traded SGA and players and picks for Paul George. Look how that turned out. SGA was one of the best players in the league. He's won back-to-back MVP. He won a title last season, and now this is the same thing. And it's kind of like it's really head-scratching. And people are like, is this worse than the Luka trade? I don't think it's worse than the Luka trade, but it definitely has levels to the Luka trade in terms of confusion for why this should ever have been made. Now, I know there was like, rumors that were like stirring up, saying that like how Jaylen Brown was frustrated. And then like, he said last year that it was his favorite season, even though he just got lost a 3-1 series lead. It was his favorite season. Now, maybe the Celtics like took offense to that and decided like, okay, we don't want a guy that doesn't have a winning mentality here. I don't care if you're Jaylen Brown, but you should care. It's Jaylen Brown. Yeah. Because when Tatum was hurt, Jaylen Brown was your star player. He got you to a 2 seed, and you still lost the way you did with him back. And to lose that, subtract from that, and to get Paul George instead is absolutely 100% blasphemy, in my opinion. I don't know what you are doing. You just made the Sixers probably the best team in the Eastern Conference here with that move, because I don't know what the heck Brad Stevens was thinking, but he certainly wasn't thinking with his brain. I'll tell you that much.
I thought Brad Stevens was smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was smarter than that. The idea is if you were to trade Jaylen Brown away, you get Tyrese Maxey back for him.
Or Giannis, for that matter.
Or Giannis. Like, none of that happened. You got a washed-up Paul George instead. Boston looked like they were going to be on the come-up, or at least building towards a championship again, or at least being back in contention next season. Now they just took a step backwards. Like, they're not going to be a 2 seed in the East next year. They'll probably be lucky to be a 4 or 5. But Boston just made a big mistake.
There are only 2 words I have to say to this to begin with. And those are smear campaign. This isn't even a full criticism. This isn't even a criticism of Jaylen Brown, the simplest case in basketball terms. What the Celtics did was a full-on smear campaign of Jaylen Brown. It's not even labeling him a locker room cancer. A smear campaign goes beyond being labeled a locker room cancer. And people have the nerve to say that he thinks that he's the smartest person in the locker room. Well, if I was the youngest person to lecture at Harvard and got to collaborate with MIT on the Bridge program, focusing on Black youth in Boston and STEM, speak fluent Spanish, owning a nonprofit called the Boston Exchange, which is inspired by Black Wall Street, then yes, I would call myself the smartest person in the room. And yes, that includes Brad Stevens too. That Jaylen Brown is smarter than Brad Stevens in this case, because there's a time in which general managers would be well respected until one bad move would tank their whole reputation. Nico Harrison was well respected before the Luka trade. Guess what happened after that? He becomes a punchline. And now, after this Jaylen Brown trade, Brad Stevens might as well become a punchline after this trade. You need to tell me that a role player in Derek White, you say that he has a better year than a literal MVP candidate in Jaylen Brown? I need a red card here, because you need to get out of here. You're down to 10 men. You cannot substitute. Just get out of here, because none of this makes sense. It's a smear campaign, and nothing will ever get me to have a different opinion on this matter. Jaylen Brown was literally Boston's best player in the time that Jason Tatum was recovering from a torn Achilles. And for what it's worth, yes, there was frustration inside that he didn't want to be playing behind Tatum's shadow, but you still cannot initiate a fully fledged smear campaign of what is your 1A, 1B option on the team. And yes, I'm saying 1A, 1B because Tatum and Brown, they work together very nicely.
Yeah, it was honestly, they did Jaylen Brown so dirty.
The disturbing part, it's not the first time the media demonized Jaylen Brown for being smart.
No.
Because look back in 2016, NBC Sports posted an article that his intelligence and nonconformity could keep some teams from drafting him. And just 2 years ago, Andrew Petcash tweeted out that some NBA scouts were worrying that he could be bored with basketball because he was smart. Look, I have just one response. If he got to lecture at Harvard, which is a little Ivy League school,
yes,
and he also got offered a NASA internship, played on Cal Berkeley's chess team, and got a master's class his first semester at Cal Berkeley, yes, I would say that I'm the smartest person in this room. I have my right to talk trash.
Yeah. I honestly, Jaylen Brown might be smart, but he gets so disrespected for some reason. And he gets so disrespected, and I don't understand it. Listen, you shouldn't be talking smack about people who are smart. Because the smartest people in the room can get you back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they know how to get you back, and they will get you back. The Celtics are going to rue this day.
They will. They absolutely will. All right.
I am now tuned in for every Sixers Celtics game now.
Yes.
Tuned in. Absolute cinema. Jaylen Brown is going to dog walk all over Boston now.
Oh yeah, he's gonna pull out the big FU to Celtics because they deserve it. They deserve it.
You do.
It's my worst nightmare.
Mm.
Why would you trade him to them?
A division rival, nonetheless.
That's like the Giants trading Saquon to Philly.
Oh god.
It's the same thing, same feeling, except they went from Boston to Philly. Jaylen Brown.
Right. Okay. One last thing. I was gonna get into the Kawhi. We'll do the Kawhi Leonard reunion. All right. Kawhi Leonard, after a very tumultuous tenure in with the Clippers, is returning to Toronto. All I can say is this just brings a smile on my face in the stupidest way possible. First of all, Kawhi Leonard, much like Paul George, is washed. And you are not going to get anything better than Kawhi Leonard in 2019. Kawhi Leonard in 2019 was the best version of himself ever. But the injuries and the inconsistencies in Los Angeles and the Clippers are just a bad organization to begin with. Led us back to this. Yeah. And all I can say is, Toronto, congrats, kind of.
Well, it's a breakup that should have never happened.
Yeah, seriously.
Good for Kawhi, honestly, for going back to where he won a championship. I just don't know how it's going to pan out. Obviously, he's past the beginning of his prime.
Yeah.
I hope he can get back to true form, and maybe the Raptors can actually be like a better threat in the Eastern Conference. So I hope that happens, and good luck to him. That's really all I can say.
I mean, listen, Kawhi Leonard at this point has nothing to lose in his career, but like, if you're gonna expect Kawhi Leonard 2019 to come back, fat chance.
No.
Yeah. Just, I hope. I know there's a lesser chance that he gets punished now with the aspiration scandal. That's more than the Clippers getting punished, if anything.
That's true. That is very true. And honestly, the good thing for the Raptors is they were a playoff team last year.
They were, yeah.
So I think maybe getting Kawhi Leonard back can add to their depth, or maybe bring some pep in their step. We'll see. But like, I'm all for it, honestly. If Kawhi Leonard's happy to be back in Toronto, then I can't complain about that.
Well, the risk reward with that trade, Matt, is because a big reason why the Raptors were a playoff team was because of Brandon Ingram, and now they had to trade him away to get Kawhi back. So I feel like, are they going to get the same similar production from that they got from Ingram from Kawhi, or is Kawhi going to regress and then he's going to have a good time with Scotty Barnes and company? We'll have to see, but
I think so.
That's just going to be a big question, going forward to see. Can Kawhi do what Brandon Ingram did? We'll have to see.
Yeah. All right. Now, before we get into break, there's one little sad story I'd like to bring up, and this goes to the NFL. Former NFL running back Chris Johnson revealed on Good Morning America earlier this week that he is battling ALS. This battle has been going on since early 2025, although he decided to come out clean about it this past week. He mentioned that late last year he felt weakness in his body and he had to get tested to find out what it was. They found out it was ALS, and it doesn't run in his family. So I forget what type of ALS it is, but like, it's that type of ALS where it's not genetic. I forget what it is. One of you guys can correct me on that, but this is devastating. Chris Johnson played 9 years in the NFL, has the single season scrimmage yards record in NFL history back from his 2009 season. Very memorable player. I remember when he was a Titan and he was awesome, and then he went to Arizona and things kind of fell off. But very devastating to hear Chris Johnson's going through this. Alec, your thoughts?
Yeah, best of luck to him in his battle at ALS, and we hope that he wins this battle. Well, probably we could participate in the Ice Bucket Challenge for this matter, because that's what happens with the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. It's a nice gesture of respect for those who are battling ALS. And if you know someone who has ALS, please give them all the love and support, and they need your help.
Yeah, I might even do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge tomorrow, honestly, especially because it's so damn hot outside.
You need it because you burn yourself.
Oh my God. Kevin, your thoughts on this whole Chris Johnson battle?
Yeah, very, very disheartening and tragic to hear. I mean, obviously, Chris Johnson was a great NFL player, like in his prime, and to hear that with having ALS, which is a terrible disease. You know what? It's great that people are sort of bringing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge back to raise awareness for this sort of thing. I think that it's good that more people know about it because it's really a serious disease. that shouldn't go unnoticed. And absolutely, Alec is right. Like, please love and support like anyone that, like, who has been diagnosed with ALS any way you can. And it's definitely like truly disheartening to know that Chris Johnson has that.
Yeah, like ALS is a very serious disease. Chris Johnson talked about it, how it's almost like life-threatening. Well, it is life-threatening. You know, people have died from it, but I'm hoping to God he stays alive. I'm hoping that he wins this battle. You know, you hate to see anyone go through a serious illness like that, let alone anything. But Chris Johnson, you know, I think the NFL has your back. You got thousands of people, supporters from Tennessee and Arizona where you did play, rooting for you. And I think you're tough enough to get through this. You can do it. Your 4 children, your wife are depending on this.
You got this.
Right.
You got this, Chris. All right. Anyways, we're past the first hour. When we come back, we're going to go into baseball as well as some hockey. Alec is all over the hockey stuff. And Kevin is fresh found Friday this week that's not sports related.
Correct.
And there's going to be props involved. So, but before we get into our break, this is sponsored by DAS Technology Consulting. DAS Technology Consulting is there for you for all your IT, data center demands, and third-party maintenance needs. If you're looking for third-party maintenance, if you don't know what third-party maintenance is, you're saving 50% by purchasing equipment from a third-party maintenance provider outside of a company like Dell or HP. So you can save a lot of money that way. And if you want to learn more, a little bit more about DAS Technology Consulting, here's Darren Siriani. Take a listen.
Our mission is to deliver high quality, scalable, and secure data center services that ensure seamless operations for clients across various industries, offering best-in-class data center services all under one roof.
Thank you, DAS Technology Consulting, for everything you do. And Darren, I'm looking to kick in your butt in fantasy football this year. Actually, a little update on fantasy football on Foursquare Fantasy 2026. We do have 12 players this year. And if you want to know the players, I will give you a little rundown. Myself, Kevin, Alec, John, Lily, Ritos, Jay Collier, Sammy, and then our 4 new players, Josh Wolmer, Gianna Togneri, Adriana. I'm trying to pronounce her last name. It's very hard to pronounce. It's Italian, though. And then also David Smith Armchair. Those are 12 people who are joining. We will go into more detail on a future episode, but it's an exciting time to be part of Foursquare Fantasy 2026. And I'm very looking forward to reclaiming championship in some way, shape, or form in fantasy football. Anyways, welcome to hour number 2 of Foursquare Sports. Matt Siriani and Kevin Zelicskovics out in Nava. We have a lot of baseball and a lot of hockey to get into, and Kevin is fresh found and fried, and I'm looking forward to what props he uses. But we're going to go into the NHL first. We have a couple major signings that happened over the course of the week, and we also want to give Alex some time with the Leo Carlson stuff. But before we do that, major deal. Alec alluded to Sergei Bobrovsky, how he's getting up there in age, and what did the Florida Panthers do? They let him walk. He goes to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
3 years, $21 million total. So it reunites him with Anthony Stolar. It's a 2024 Panthers tandem reunion. So Toronto poaching him away from their division rivals. And while he never won a Vezina with Florida, he did it twice with Columbus. The Toronto's thinking that he recaptures form from his glory years in Florida and the 3 consecutive Cup final appearances. Now, we wonder what version of Bob we're getting. He's coming off the worst season of his professional career, or look like age is catching up to him. The Panthers were injured to hell and back. I mean, every injury after injury after injury. You can name any player, and they instantly get an injury. But yes, they're banking on the possibility that he bounces back. Now, he will wear number 72. Gavin McKenna gave him permission to wear the number. Ideally, you think Toronto is going to split the tandem between him and Stolarz. And while the cap hit of $7 million could come back to bite, given it's 3 years, At least it's not 6 years. But I will say this. If the Leafs can get a solid 2 years out of him, I see this as a win.
Yeah. At this point, Sergei Bobrovsky, you mentioned he's 37 years old. I mean, he's only got so much time, so much left in the tank. But I think if you can get 2 years out of him, I think that's a good enough deal. Next deal, we got Stuart Skinner signing with the Winnipeg Jets. 2 years, $3.75 million in average annual value. So if you do the math, that's $7.5 million over the course of 2 years.
So long, Skinner. You were okay with us at the Penguins, but Sergei Murashov is on the come up, and we have him next as our starting goaltender. Now, Artur Shilovs is an RFA. It was clear that the Penguins are going to let Skinner walk. The main goal of this is getting a second-round pick out of trading away Tristan Jarry to the Oilers. We did turn Brett Kulak into Sam Girard and a second, so that's a win for that part, getting draft capital from Kyle Dubas's part. But at the minimum, this is Jets getting a proven goaltender with a manageable cap hit. But the main reason why this signing was made, Hellebuck's future. So there's trade speculation around Hellebuck and where he's going to go, and there are certain suitors. The main suitors for him are Carolina and Buffalo. Buffalo to talk to Winnipeg about landing Hellebuck during the draft and trading away the fourth pick, which became Daxton Rudolph. And while Skinner may have bought him out over the last 2 years, the main reason for why this signing is being made is Hellebuck's future. If Hellebuck stays, then Skinner's going to be his backup. If he gets traded, and I mean Skinner's going to be a stopgap goaltender for the Jets.
I can see that happening. I mean, Stuart Skinner, I remember his days with the Edmonton Oilers, and he wasn't really the best goaltender out there. I mean, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, he could have done a lot better, but I think you mentioned it, stopgap goalie. I can see that happening. So I think that the Jets are just going to have to wait it out with him, see what happens. And then next we got, oh God, this is going to hurt Alec a little bit. Freddie Anderson signed a 1-year contract with the Edmonton Oilers. Speaking of Edmonton, Alec.
Am I really hurt all that honestly? Well, I'll say, Freddie, thank you. Thank you for everything in Carolina. Thank you for all the deep playoff runs that you backstopped throughout on the cusp of, well, I have to say it was dominant postseasons. And while regular season wise, it wasn't that impressive on his part, but when it comes to the playoffs, he found another gear in which he was dominant in the first 2 rounds and looked to have found form. But it was clear that come the Stanley Cup final, he ran out of gas, and it was Brandon Bussy's crease from here on out. Now, he benefited off a Hurricane system that prioritizes on shot suppression. The Oilers are a very different team than the Hurricanes. Edmonton's not a shot suppression team. They have a different defensive style. And Carolina's a possession-heavy game, very rarely letting the opponent control the puck more than we do. The Oilers don't focus on that type of game. Now, that's an issue for Freddie as much as it is for other goalies headed to the Oilers. They're not going to get the Freddie who went 13-2 in the playoffs with a 189 GA, 910 save percentage.
Right.
Where do they get this cap space from? They traded Darnell Nurse to the Sharks. So the Oilers need to play this smart and use him in a tandem role because him, Tristan Jarry, and Devon Levi, who they got from Buffalo, should Jarry not get traded away as a cap dump, they should all be used in a tandem role. And the $1 million cap hit should not fool you. This is a risky bet from the Oilers given his age. And ideally, the offense won't be a problem, but I would be shocked if the Oilers finally have a goaltender anywhere near a 910 save percentage. But I got to ask, are the Oilers fans still hoping to get Jordan Binnington?
That's a really interesting thought right there. Jordan Binnington's on the table. Also, Connor Hellebuck's on the table. There's still a couple interesting goalies out there. Now we're going to get into an opposition that's close to Kevin's heart here. The Devils extended Nico Hischier a 5-year, $11.7 million AAV. Kevin, how do you feel?
Feel great about it. Love bringing Nico Hischier, the captain, back. He's a vital piece of what this team does, and I think that's a steal of a signing, all things considered. And like Nico wanted to come back, he said, and I quote, that he didn't want to run away from the problem. He wanted it to stay through the process, and he wants to win. And he wants to win as a Devil. I thought that was really cool. Like, he wants to be here, and he wants to be the leader of this team. You love that. I love bringing Nico back.
That's positive. That's positive. Now, I remember there was like these rumors going around that maybe the Devils can land Connor Hellebuyck. Do you see that happening?
Well, not anymore. I mean, that was sort of a pipe dream from the beginning. I mean, like I would have loved Hellebuck, but like that's kind of like out the window now because like they just re-signed Nico Dawes and they already had Jake Allen as the backup for Markstrom before they traded him away.
They did, yeah.
And they just signed Riddick, who was a backup goalie for the Islanders this past season. So it seems like Sonny Meta is going to have a tandem of Dawes, Allen, and Riddick to start the season, and then maybe he'll upgrade a goaltender at the deadline. Now, I don't know if he thinks that he can get a goalie at the deadline at a good price, or maybe he has an inkling that Connor Hellebuyck might stay in Winnipeg, or maybe Jordan Binnington might not get traded. We'll see what happens there. But I'm like, okay, if you're not going to get upgrade from Markstrom, I at least want to see you get an impact player to play alongside Jack. Like bringing Nico Hischier back is fine and all, but I want to see you like bring in another player that like can really impact this team. Now, I did like the draft picks, the first 2 draft picks that the Devils did get. They got Alexander Command and they got Miro Van Hanen, who I've been hearing great things from him in development camp so far. They did re-sign Arseny Gritsuk from Russia. I really like that kid. I think he could be a good spark plug, a young player for us, as well as Cody Glass. Now, I've heard some trade packages for like a Hellebuyck trade to trade like Dawson Mercer and company. We did trade Shimon Nemitz away for draft capital and Siplikov. I'm fine with that because like that was more than I thought we were going to get for Shimon Nemitz, even though I feel like he was kind of the only really one that scored alongside Timo Meier when Jack Hughes did get hurt. And yeah, I would love to have some good insurance for like if Jack Hughes does get hurt like this upcoming season, because when Jack got hurt, season kind of imploded from there. Even when he came back, I mean, the team just wasn't good defensively and the goaltending wasn't good, specifically Jacob Markstrom, which is why I'm not, sad at all that like, he's gone now. Like he's going to a Florida team that like, maybe he can win a cup there. Good for him. And he's paired up with Akira Schmid, who was also a former Devil goalie. So the Panthers are getting 2 former Devil goalies to pair in tandem with. So good for Marky. I wish him the best of luck. But for the Devils, yeah, I think they got to get another guy in here. I've heard like speculation about, Dylan Larkin, Jason Robertson, but his price tag seems like to be like really high after like the offer that he declined from Seattle. So I don't know, like if maybe he'll stay for an extension. I don't know what, maybe discussions are ongoing for that, but I feel like the Devils, they definitely could use a second guy to pair up with Jack. And again, I just hope that Sonny Mena knows what he's doing. I have liked the moves that he's made so far. That offer sheet that he offered to Bear Hayton from Utah, I thought it was a really under the radar move. Now I had to look up what an offer sheet was because I've never even heard of it until like whenever that offer was made. I'm like, wow, that's a really smart move by Sonny Mena because it rarely happens, offer sheets. And we just saw one like with Leo Carlson that like Alec mentioned. So I feel like, okay, I like what Sonny's doing. It seems like the guy knows what he's doing and he's getting like value like that, like he's seeing that other people aren't. And he's getting guys that have very good underlying metrics whenever you do look at them. So I'm like, okay, I trust Sonny in this case. It seems like he's like the adult in the room, something that Tom Fitzgerald just wasn't. He was just awful. And kind of like with Leon Rose with the Knicks, Sonny Mena seems like the adult in the room, and it seems like he knows what he's doing. So I'm going to trust Sonny on this one.
At that point, you got to just like what they're doing, and like if you like it, you just got to ride with it, and then maybe things will enhance. I think, like, listen, the Devils have a lot of talent. I think health is a major concern. I mean, obviously, when the Hughes brothers are not healthy, that's a problem because they just kind of give up or lie down after that. Because that's exactly what happened last year.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one other thing I want to get into is the Leo Carlson stuff. Alec alluded to this earlier. You want to talk about it? Alec, the floor is yours. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so this came earlier today. Now, we did mention about the Barrett Hayton offer sheet. The poison pill is that if Utah matches it, they cannot trade Hayton away for a full calendar year, and he'll walk directly into unrestricted free agency. Now, here with Leo Carlson, if you want to go back to the last time there was an aggressive offer sheet, look back to Sebastian Aho. The Montreal Canadiens sent an offer sheet to Aho that the Hurricanes matched. And if you want something that's more aggressive, The Flyers offer sheeted Shea Weber a 14-year, $110 million deal in 2010 that the Nashville Predators matched. That contract is now over and done with, as Weber has not played an NHL game since the 2021 Stanley Cup Final. Now, here with Leo Carlsson, what the Flyers are doing is a move of full pettiness. Go back to when they had to trade away Cutter Gauthier because he was not willing to play for the Flyers. He said, I don't want to play for this organization. They traded him for Jamie Drysdale. Now the Flyers are delivering what could likely end up being the biggest blow to Anaheim's cap structure. Danny Briere has completely screwed Anaheim. This contract is 5 years, $90 million total. If you do the math, that's $18 million per year of a cap hit for Leo Carlsson. That will make him the highest paid player in NHL history in terms of cap hit, passing Kirill Kaprizov's $17 million. That's a $4 million difference between Carlsson and the third most of $14 million, which is set by Leon Draisaitl. I get it. Carlson's an elite two-way center in the making, and he's only going to get better. An overpayment from Philadelphia's perspective can make sense because their center situation is the worst in the league. They have a plethora of talent in the wingers. Travis Konecny, Owen Tippett, Tyson Forrester, who just got extended by Philadelphia, Porter Martone, Matvei Michkov, and Trevor Zegras. Yes, I am counting Zegras as a winger because that's where he primarily played for much of his NHL career. But Leo Carlsson massively upgrades their forward core. If Anaheim doesn't match this, they're getting 4 first-round picks as compensation over the next 4 years. You heard that correctly. 4 first-round picks. But those first-round picks, Philadelphia is going to get a lot better, and it's unlikely that the Ducks are going to get someone of Carlson's caliber with those 4 first-round picks. So they're going to be in the mid to late range. They could be useful NHLers, but the odds of landing stars with those selections are slim, unless you get someone like a Wyatt Johnston for that matter. Now, Flyers fans shouldn't get too excited because the Ducks say that they're going to match any offer sheet that's tendered out, but the Ducks are in a position where this is a lose-lose situation. You don't match, and you'll lose him for 4 first-round picks in which they're not going to likely be stars of his caliber. You match the offer sheet, and your cap structure gets completely turned upside down. You still need to pay Cutter Gauthier, and you still need to pay Pavel Mintyukov, who, by the way, all 3 of those guys I mentioned between Carlsson, Gauthier, and Mintyukov were all extension eligible during the 2026 season. Pat Verbeek had plenty of time to negotiate the right contracts with all 3 of those guys. Choosing to stay patient will bite you in the back. And now Verbeek is reaping what he is sowing. And now he's forced into his hand, having to potentially match the offer sheet and pay $18 million a year to Carlsson. Here's a stark contrast. Pay your young players early. Take Kent Hughes, for example. He locked up Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Yuri Slafkovsky, Lane Hudson, and now Ivan Demidov to very team-friendly extensions. That's how you get business done. The ripple effects, what is caused by this offer sheet because of Verbeek's patience, is going to be massive for young NHL stars. What's going to happen to Connor Bedard's next contract? He and the Blackhawks have not made any traction on the new contract. He's a restricted free agent. What about Macklin Celebrini? Does he go for $20 million per year? All we can do now is hold our breath because the ripple effects here with this offer sheet are seismic, not just with the Ducks and Flyers, but the league as a whole.
I think this is a situation that the NHL wanted to avoid. I think that you mentioned a lot of things, a lot of factors in the play. The Canadians, the way they did it, like you mentioned, they did it very well. Friendly contracts to good contributing players that aren't over the top. I think what you're seeing in Philadelphia could be destructive.
Yes.
And it can absolutely be destructive. And then you mentioned the whole Connor Bedard situation. He's flaking a little bit on the Blackhawks as it is because of he's looking for a contract extension with the Blackhawks. And then you mentioned Macklin Celebrini with the Sharks. Look at what he's been doing. So these young stars are going to look for major long-term contracts, like 10-year contracts or something along those lines. And I don't know if the
That
NHL is
doesn't
ready to
exist in
do
the
that.
NHL.
Yeah.
We don't hand out 10-year contracts anymore.
Oh,
well, but the ripple effects here could be devastating and destructive here.
yeah, it could be. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it could run rampant, and I feel like if the NHL isn't careful, it definitely could have a ripple effect, like you guys said. So I definitely agree.
Yeah, this is how lockouts get started.
Yeah, and you're seeing part of this in Major League Baseball transpire. Like, you can't let the money get out of hand.
Yeah, and Philadelphia, be careful what you're asking for.
Yeah. Like, the NHL has to take care of this has to monitor this very closely to prevent this from going out of hand. But I trust Gary Bettman. I think that he's going to monitor this carefully. I think he's going to make sure that a lockout doesn't happen. I think he's going to make sure he manages the finances of all NHL teams responsibly to prevent such a lockout from happening. So I trust Gary Bettman. Now we're going to get into Major League Baseball. This will be before Fresh Fine or Fried. Now, I want to get into the Yankees really quick. Thank God the June swoon is over, but we are playing the Minnesota Twins right now. It's 3-1 from last I checked. Kevin, score update?
3-2 Yankees.
3-2. Oh God, please tell me. Please tell me. So, Yankees are a little bit of a downward spiral without Judge, without Giancarlo Stanton, but they were doing good before that. Like earlier on with the injuries, they were doing okay. Now they're 4 games back at Tampa Bay. They're clinging onto that 4 seed right now by a few games. They're trying to fade away. But one thing Aaron Judge said that I think really sticks a core with me is that there's a lack of focus on the team right now. You know, there aren't really any leadership. You know, guys are just entitled. You know, not really a lot of responsibility or a lot of like no consistency and no backbone on this franchise at all. When is it enough to say, Aaron, you're fired? When?
It's never enough. I mean, do I need to go on a rant like I did, like to fire up the Knicks the same way? Do I have to do that? Because I don't like to do rants every single year on the Yankees, but I mean, here you go. Here's the annual Kevin rant for the Yankees, right? So here it comes. I mean, June swoon. I mean, it happens every single year. I expect it. Happened in the World Series year in 2024. We had 2 6-game losing streaks. I did a whole rant on that year that you can probably look back on. And that was when I said the famous "Get Anthony Volpe off my team" clip that you see in the intro 2 years ago. That was the World Series year. So that was one June swoon. Happened last year where we had another 6-game losing streak, and we felt like the wheels were just falling off. Now we have currently a 7-game losing streak. So we just continue to just be bad and bad and bad. It's one thing if you struggle during a certain month. It's another thing when you have injuries on top of it. Now, listen, I understand that we don't have Aaron Judge, no Giancarlo Stanton, and before tonight, we had no Trent Grisham and no Ryan McMahon. And Grisham and McMahon have been activated tonight, and Grisham just hit a leadoff homer in his first game back.
Right.
Max Fried, right? And now Carlos Rodon is hurt, we find out, with the left elbow inflammation. So we'll have to see who's going to come up in his place. Probably Oman Rodriguez or Brendan Beck, last time I heard. Anyways, I get that injuries are a part of the game, but it comes to a point where, like, you cannot always be relying on your starters to pitch damn near perfect games every single night. This offense during the 7-game losing streak has been abysmal. It doesn't matter. Even our good hitters, Ben Rice in a massive slump before, obviously, tonight. He had a 2-run home run. Maybe that gets him going. Cody Bellinger in a massive slump. Jazz Chisholm, massive slump. Everyone is having massive slumps at the same time. That's not what you want. Austin Wells being an automatic out, batting under like 150. He's garbage. I don't understand why he's in this lineup, why you can't just call JC or Scar back up. Ali Sanchez, he's doing well with what he's being given. I mean, like, there's nothing really you could say about him.
Right.
Jose Caballero, he's doing fine offensively, but Aaron Boone, Mr. Aaron Baboons, decides to play him out of position anywhere but shortstop. which is his natural position. Because, listen, I get Jose Caballero was hurt for 10 days, and then you had no choice but to send Anthony Volpe back up from the minors to replace him. I get that. But then you go back into the beginning of the year when Brian Cashman, the GM of the Yankees, said, may whoever gets the starting shortstop job earn it and keep it. That is not happening here. When Jose Caballero got back from the 10-day IL, he got back to shortstop for a little bit, and then it's been Volpe ever since. Let me understand why that Caballero, yes, he can play you any sort of position, right? But he is not an outfielder. He's played in center field, right field, and left field. Why? I get that if there's no other option, sure, put Caballero in the outfield. If guys are hurt, I get that. But you have other options. Max Schumann can play outfield. You don't play him. Waldo, who we just called back up and now he's sent back down, he could have played outfield. Don't play him. Don't see why. Rosario could play outfield, even though I disagree that he should even be there. In fact, speaking of Rosario, he's been the most consistent hitter on the team in this.
Yeah.
That's a thing to have if Rosario is your best player in this slump. And again, Anthony Volpe, I said it a million times and I'll say it again. Get Anthony Volpe off my team. 2026 edition. He's not a good player anymore. I know he's very, very hot or cold. Like he's had a good streak, maybe like 3-4 games where he's looked fine. He's gotten base hits, he's gotten on base, and he's gotten steals. I can respect that. But I'm not going to be coerced into thinking that all of a sudden he's going to be a good player for us. Hell no, because he's gone back down to earth. He still doesn't have the arm to throw from shortstop back to first anymore. You've seen so many times where we just don't turn double plays when he's playing shortstop. And when Caballero is involved at second or short, guess what? We turn double plays because Caballero has a quicker arm and can throw faster than Anthony Volpe. Now, maybe you want to blame the shoulder injury that he had last year on it. Fine. If that's the case, why not just put him at second and platoon him and Jets? I feel like that would benefit him more, right? And then if you want to have Volpe and Caballero in there, two guys who can steal, right? You could have Caballero play shortstop and have Volpe play second and then give Jazz a day off if it's against the lefty. I think they should do that and they should consider that. But the problem is Aaron Boone or whoever is simply refusing to play Volpe anywhere else besides shortstop. If Caballero can play in 5-6 freaking positions, why on earth are you not playing Volpe in a different position other than shortstop? Other than Paul Goldschmidt, Anthony Volpe is the only player on this team that only plays one position. So tells me he's one-dimensional. He's not multifaceted. Even Ryan McMahon. We saw Ryan McMahon, who's a true third baseman. He played shortstop for a few games.
He did?
He can play a few games there. Rosario, he can play third, short, and second, and outfield. I get that, but he plays those positions well. And if you're playing Caballero out of position in outfield, you've seen him make a ton of bad throws, and Aaron Boone seems all aloof. That Caballero's going to be good wherever I put him, and he keeps defending him. And granted, yes, Caballero is a great player and a great defender, but we need to stop putting him in the outfield. Now tonight, he finally puts Caballero back in shortstop, and what do you know? We're winning up 3-2 right now. You cannot jeopardize the defensive positions on this team because that is the flaw that this team has had for years. Look back in the World Series 2 years ago. That's why we lost. Look back at last year against the Blue Jays. That's why we lost. Pitching and defense. And it's happening in this slump. Now, I know that the Yankees are going to get out of this. This probably is just a blip in the radar, just like every year. And they're probably in the playoffs. They're probably going to lose in the first round. That's what happens every single year because the slumps that they're on, they're the only team that has the high payroll that they have, has had slumps like these, extended ones. The Mets come to mind because they don't look like they're a good team too. They've had slumps in there, and they have one of the highest payrolls in baseball. And so with this team, it's like, yes, health is a factor. I understand that, but there's absolutely no excuse why you should be losing 4 straight to the Boston Red Sox, who are garbage this year. Tigers, who are, I don't want to say they're garbage, but they're not a good team. You shouldn't be by them. You beat Scooble the first time in Detroit Couldn't do it against here. Now, I'm not going to take it away from him. Skubal. Like, I mean, like, he's a really good player. Maybe the Yanks make a run for him. I'm not sure. I doubt it. But now with Rodon hurt, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't, because there's always the possibility of a pitcher getting hurt, and you can never have too much pitching. And that's what the Yankees are going to be banking on, is their starting rotation to put them in the games, because clearly there is no insurance for if Judge and or Stanton both get hurt or one gets hurt. Because if both get hurt, who are you falling back on? Ben Rice? If he falls into a slump like he's doing now, who are you falling back on? Bellinger, Goldschmidt, both are in slumps right now. Who are you relying on? There's nobody on this team that could get hot at the right time, minus maybe Rosario. But you can't rely on Rosario out of the whole roster there. That simply cannot happen. And this team right now is a load of garbage. They seem awful. And luckily for them, the American League is also garbage. And it's because I think even with the Yankees, I think the Yankees are one of 4 or 5 teams in the entire AL that have a record above 500. The only team in the Yankees by record are the Rays, and we're 4 games behind them. They've won 7 straight. We've lost 7 straight. Funny how baseball works sometimes, but it's just. And after this Twin Series, they versed the Rays for 4 games. That could spell the end of the season, in my opinion, if they do not at least split that series, because you're in ground before the All-Star break, and you need to make sure that guys are coming back healthy and the reinforcements are coming. Now, Grisham and McMahon are back. Freed's going to come back real soon. The hope is that Stan will come back in a few weeks, and the hope is that Aaron Judge will be re-imaged from his bone bruise in a couple of weeks. But you simply cannot be relying on your starter to have perfect games every single time, because they're going to go through slumps too. It's just the way that baseball works. Ryan Weathers couldn't get past 2 innings. Will Warren couldn't get past 3 innings. Cam Schlittler gave up 4 or 5 runs, all unearned, because the defense was sloppy and they're playing guys out of position. So you can't be reliant on the home run ball every single time. But this is the Yankees. This is what they do. They rely on the home run when stuff isn't going their way. When stuff was working, when they didn't have Judge and Stanton to start, they were playing small ball. They were playing good, playing guys correctly in position, guys getting hot, guys getting on base. Remember how good Paul Goldschmidt was? Remember how good Anthony Volpe was for the 3-4 straight games? That's gone. Remember, I can go back a million times ago when this happened, but it just isn't the case. And I'm not going to sit here and just scream my brains out, because I already expect this. This is what you expect from the Yankees, to have June swoons like this in the whole month and a little bit in the beginning of July. That's exactly what's happening right now. And they're 12-14 in the month of June. Not a surprise at all, but I know they're going to get out of it. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're probably going to lose the first round, unless they can show to me that at the deadline they're going to add pieces, and specifically they need to add a catcher who can hit the damn ball, because Austin Wells is complete and utter garbage. Get him off the team or send him down. That might actually be beneficial for him. Send him down, get JC back up, let Wells work on his stuff, send Volpe down, have Caballero be at shortstop full time, and then make Volpe work on his stuff, and then you go get better pieces. You need a catcher. I've heard rumors of Ryan Jeffers and Hunter Goodman. Both are comparable. And you obviously need to have more bullpen arms, because this bullpen is awful. Ball is awful. Send him to Mars, to the moon. I don't care where. Send him down. And the worst egregious thing of them all was yesterday. They call up Giovanni Cruz to replace Yerry Santos. Great. An actual good move. Giovanni Cruz has done nothing on this team but produce and give you outs, give you strikeouts. He is a flamethrower of a pitcher. He's giving you 6 perfect innings. And last night, after the Yankees lost their 7 straight, what do? They send him back down to AAA. Why on earth are you sending one of your better relievers this year back down to AAA? The worst part about it is they can't send him back up until mid way of this month, July 16th or something, 18th, I think. Why on earth are you doing that? Is it now their logic for it? I just saw it today. Is we want to get Bednar back in, because keep in mind Bednar was on the paternity list.
Yeah,
good for him. And then he got reinstated back here off the paternity list. So probably like, oh, that was the corresponding move to get Bednar back up here. But you already made that move by bringing Bird up. You couldn't have sent Bird down. You couldn't have sent Doval down. You're going to send Giovanni Cruz, who's been one of your better relievers, down instead. It's baffling. It's baffling, and I don't understand why. And I'm like, okay, LeGron hasn't called up once, and now he's hurt right now, so you can't do that. And they have to send up a starter, whether it's Elmer Rodriguez or it's Brendan Beck up here to be a spot starter until Rodon is fine. But this team needs to figure it out, and they need to figure it out starting tonight. Because I swear to God, if we do not beat the Minnesota Twins, who we have owned for all of eternity, get back on track tonight, I am going to flip out, because then I know that this team has hit rock bottom, because a 7-game losing streak is already bad. But losing to the Twins, even with guys hurt, is simply going to be unacceptable. And I would just stop watching if that's the case.
All right. First of all, you hit the nail on the head on a lot of things. Second of all, I pity the Yankee lowlife chat if we lose that series to the Minnesota Twins. I really do, because
there's no excuse. Because Byron Buxton, who's been one of the better players in the American League this year, he's hurt. No reason.
Yep.
No excuse.
No excuse at all. And like the crazy thing is, we see this every year with this team. But why aren't changes being made? Is Hal Steinbrenner got like a bone? I'm not gonna say the whole word. A bone with Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman? Well, we say this all the time, but it's like it's ridiculous, because it's just like it's the same freaking thing every year. Nothing changes. Nothing's new. Like, it's the same shiitake mushrooms. It's the same thing. And the worst part is I just like, it just gets boring at times, because it's like, you know what's going to happen in June. You know what's going to happen in July. You know what's going to happen in the postseason. Some team that shouldn't be beating us is beating us. Like, it's the same thing every freaking year.
Now, I understand that there were firings. I understand there were firings this year. I mean, Alex Cora got fired. Carlos Mendoza got fired. Rob Thompson got fired. At least all those teams, and yes, including the Mets, although be it way late, too late in the season, they did it. They had the courage to actually fire their managers for this season when things weren't working. I know the Yankees are never going to do that, because they have blind faith in Aaron Boone. Now, they did sign a 2-year extension for us, and depending on if we even get baseball next season, he's going to be our manager in 2028, and then we'll see. If they extend his ass one more time, I'm going to flip out, because Aaron Boone, as long as he is managing this team, we will not win a World Series. I've said this time and time again. Boone and Cashman, as long as they're running the show, as long as Hal continues to have blind faith in these guys, we are not winning anything. I'm telling you. It's like Aaron Boone, or Cashman loves Aaron Boone so much to a point where Cashman loves Boone as much as Boone loves Anthony Volpe.
Yep.
They all love each other, because I'm convinced that one has some dirt on the other, or whoever, and I feel like it could be some ego involved, or maybe like Cashman was like, oh, I want to continue to play Volpe. I want to tell Aaron Boone to continue to play Volpe every single dang game, because I'm going to look stupid, because I said that, I brought him in here and watch Anthony Volpe be a good player. Guess what, Sherlock? He hasn't been a good player. He's been here for 4 years. His first year was a good year. He got a Gold Glove that year. Cool. Second year, he regressed. Third year, last year, garbage. But you blame it on the shoulder injury. Whatever. This year, he's been garbage. Inconsistent to a point. And you choose to blame it on the other injuries, the Aaron Judge injury, the Giancarlo Stanton injury, the fact that other guys are just slumping. And while those are valid, there's always a consistent in the defense, and it's Anthony Volpe. And if you continue to play him like you are playing him, and not at least put him on a second or multi-two position, like I said, play him at second base and see what works. My rage just caused Matt's lights to go out. And I think that
it did. Yes, it did. The power outage just happened in my house. I actually can't believe it. Okay, don't worry. And the lights are back on. Oh, my God.
I'm not mad anymore. I got your lights to come.
Oh, man.
That's a first, ladies and gentlemen. We
Yeah.
had a power outage in one of our houses. Oh my god. Okay. First of all, Anthony Volpe was at a ShopRite in my area not too long ago on yesterday.
right.
Guess who didn't go? This guy.
You should have gone and had him do the outro of the show.
I could have done that. You know, it's funny. Michael K was also in the same area where I was because every year ESPN Radio has this live show at Bar A, which is not too far from my house. Every year they do it in July.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go because I went last year, but I wonder what Michael K would have to say about Anthony Volpe. Although Michael K criticized the Yankees pretty heavily.
Of course
he criticized them.
That's his job.
And he doesn't hold back.
Of course not. Oh,
which is honestly
on some things, but that's for another day.
Yeah, honestly, it's for a different day. Okay. Now, as much as I want to get into who's hot and who's not in Major League Baseball, honestly, we could do that really quickly. Alec, I'm going to come to you really quickly. Who do you think has been the biggest surprise in a year of pleasant surprises in Major League Baseball? Who's been the biggest surprise to you in Major League Baseball this year?
Well, if you were to ask me at the start of the year, it would be the entire NL Central for that matter. But right now, biggest surprise here, the Chicago White Sox, easily. And it's not even as of now, at the time of this recording, they are leading the AL Central. That's an actual sentence. Mm-hmm. The Chicago White Sox are leading the AL Central. And this turnaround is no fluke. And we speak of Munetaka Murakami. It's not just him leading the charge. It's a full rebound effort led by Colson Montgomery, Chase Madroff, Miguel Vargas. Hey, the old guard Andrew Benintendi is sticking around, and he's still serviceable or that matter. Montgomery, Madroff, they've been amazing on Southside Chicago. Murakami, the White Sox have a chance at winning the division, but knowing how fate goes, the Guardians are going to sneak up at the 11th hour and snatch it from their grasp, and they become a wild card team. And you know what? No, I'm not going to ruin the good moments here for Chicago. They deserve this moment.
They do.
The White Sox deserve this moment. Who could have seen this coming 2 years after they were one of the worst teams in baseball? Last year showed more promise. And this year, they're delivering on the promise from last year. So I have them as my biggest surprise of the season.
You know what? At the start of the year, I was going to say the Las Vegas or soon-to-be Las Vegas A's, but then they've fallen off a little bit as of late. If you're an AL West team, God bless you, because the AL West is pretty bad.
I have something for you, Matt.
Yes?
Is it the pillow?
It's
Connor
the
McDavid
pillow!
alludes to this in the Pacific Division. It is a pillow.
I knew it.
It's the
mine.
AL West pillow fight.
I do not have a pillow in here, unfortunately.
Pillow fight.
Yep. We're making this a thing in other sports.
Didn't think it'd be
It's
only
not
thing
just
in the
limited to
NHL.
hockey. The AL West is a pillow fight, officially.
It really is, though. But like, my biggest surprise, I guess, now I ruled out the Sacramento A's. My biggest surprise, I would say, is probably the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, this was a team, I hate to say it because they're in the Yankees division, but this was a team that, if you looked at them on paper, are just mediocre. And they're taking advantage of a really, really bad American League this year. Like, if you told me by now that the Tampa Bay Rays would be 4 games in first place in the AL East and the best record in the American League, I would say you're absolutely joking. But they're playing really good. Junior Caminero is on a freaking hot streak right now. Dude just hits home runs every other at bat, and you're smiling because you have him in fantasy.
Well, yeah, I had to give him a shout out too.
Yeah. So, honestly, like the Rays are playing out of this world baseball right now, and they're taking advantage of a bad conference. Kevin, who's your biggest surprise?
I'm going to have to agree with Alec and also say the White Sox. Now, the Rays are a valid choice, but I always expect that the Rays are always competitive every single year, in my personal opinion. Now, obviously, like they've had years where they've not been like the best, but they've always been competitive. Even though they have like one of the smallest payrolls in baseball, they've always been competitive. So I'm not surprised that the Rays, but I'm surprised at the rate at which they are winning. Like, you know, at the same time that the Yankees are winning, like Rays are winning too. But now like the Rays are like on a hot streak. But the Chicago White Sox, no one saw it coming. Them leading the division, I feel like that's very impressive, especially considering the fact when Murakami is hurt. There have been other guys. I mean, you and I went to a game when they hurt. We did. Andrew Benintendi, the former Yankee, killed us with a go-ahead grand slam because Camilo Doval was put in the game when it should have been Tim Hill. But anyway, that's for another day. But yeah, Colson Montgomery is also a really good player. Chase Maedra, that guy Antonacci is a great player for the Chicago White Sox too. They've got some solid pitching as well. So like all in all, I feel like the White Sox are definitely my biggest surprise.
And you also, like, if you want to mention the rotation, Davis Martin, who's having a really good breakout season, is probably their ace in that rotation. And the White Sox pitching staff is not the best, but they're getting it done when they need to against the Guardians. So, like, if you look at how they're playing against the Guardians, they're playing the Guardians very well this year. So, the White Sox are valid. I just had to say Tampa Bay because of how well they're doing. All right. Well, we have 14.5 minutes left in this early bird show, which means there's only one thing left to do. Get your popcorn ready, ladies and gentlemen, because
it's time for Fresh, Fine, or Fried.
This is the segment that closes out the show, and we're only going to have one Fresh, Fine, or Fried because last episode we had two. Something that we've never done here on Four Square Sports, have two Fresh Finds or Friends in one episode. Kevin is on the hot seat this week. But before we get Kevin his Fresh Find or Friend and his 5 minutes of fame, we got to explain the rules again like we always do. Every week, one panelist gets a Fresh Find or Friend segment. You get 5 minutes to say whatever take is on your mind. It could be sports related, but it doesn't have to be sports related. At the end of your 5 minutes, everyone else on the panel will rank you on a scale of Fresh Find or Friend. Fresh meaning it was a good take. Fine meaning it was okay take. And fried meaning it was so bad the power went out.
Oh, yeah. Also, Colombia just scored.
Nice. Colombia and Ghana's underway, and Colombia just scored. Okay. Nice. So, Kevin, I am aware that you have props for this Fresh Fire Fried. Are you ready?
A couple of things before I address this. First, I have to take off the background because this is very personal to me. It's very serious, so I'm about to talk about.
Oh, okay.
And two, this will be the final Fresh Finer Fry that I do in this location. I'm going starting next week. I'll be in a different house, so this is going to be a perfect way to like end it off in this current house.
Okay, so are you ready? All right, go.
2 days ago was a very, very sad day, and I know this. I preface this is non-sports related, but I'm going to talk about something that's near and dear to me, and that's gaming. And 2 days ago, there was the news that broke out that Sony is going to be discontinuing all physical discs, producing physical discs, starting January of 2028. Now, this is a terrible, terrible thing to happen because physical discs are what stand exclusively from consoles gaming to PC gaming. Now, with PC gaming, you can get all your games digitally and like you can get off of Steam or wherever. But with consoles, they have different exclusives for different types of games. And gamers have the ability to choose, like if they want to get it digitally or in a physical disc. I personally like to get the physical version. Now, when I have a PS5, when I bought the PS5, I bought the one with the disc drive in it because I prefer to have and collect the game and play it whenever I want, just in case if it's an online game, if the servers are down and I can't play the game, I always have the disc to fall back on. But now, hearing that news, PlayStation, starting 2028, that's not going to happen. Because with the PlayStation 6 that's going to come around at that time, it's going to be an all-digital console. Now, with PlayStation 5, you got the option of getting an all-digital version or the one with the disc drive. I have to with the disc drive. But this is just so disheartening from PlayStation, and I think it's going to kill all physical media as we know it because now you can't, starting 2028, you can't get any games physically, and you are forced to go onto the PlayStation Store and get all of the PlayStation's games at the prices that they set whenever they say so. And they're going to take consumer choice out of it when with physical games, it's more affordable for gamers because if you go for look up a physical version of a game compared to a digital version, it's typically cheaper because the digital version, sometimes the prices don't go down. Like I'll give you an example for Nintendo, right? Nintendo is one of the worst offenders of it. They've done this for years. They don't discount their games online. The game Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, for example, that is a 8-year-old game that was made in 2018. They're still charging $60 full retail price for it online on their stores. Terrible. And if you look up, if you want to get it physically, you see Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for as low as $9. You can get for physical. So this has been happening for quite some time, and you knew was going to happen. But PlayStation, this is going to kill all physical media as we know it. And the only reason why they're doing it is because they want to make more money. And I give you another example: the recent Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake. The physical version, you can get one as low as $30, $39. You look on the PlayStation Store, they're still charging $70 for it. That game came out last year. And on the PlayStation Store, this takes consumer choice out of it. And to where you can't have games like this one. I'll give you an example of my props, my collections. I have Bloodborne. I have these collector's editions released, a Dark Souls 3. You have this cool thing on the front. You can't have that anymore. Black with Wukong, PS5. Cool, right? The new Ratchet & Clank game. Can't have that. And they just announced that they're going to stop all production of the PS3 live service games. So if you have a game on the PS3 like this, and it's on online, guess what? You can't play the game anymore unless you have a digital copy of it. Even old games like Sly Cooper 1, 2, and 3. 3 of my favorite games of all time, right here. I love these games. And I always pop them back every now and then because I love playing them. And the good thing about physical discs is that you can trade with a friend. Hey, you want to play this game? I'll give it to you. Guess what? You can't do that anymore. Or if maybe, hey, I want to trade it in for a different game. Guess what? You can't do that anymore if you get a PlayStation 6 game. Now imagine if you bought an entire library on a PlayStation console and then one day the servers go out, you can't play any of your games anymore. And imagine that if you go have any of the games on your library that you want to purchase, you have to pay the price that PlayStation sets. And the prices are only going to go up from here. Like the console itself might cost $1,000. The prices are going to go up from $70 to $80 because of inflation. You're going to have game production cycles where they're going to give you subscription services to give you like a discount on the games. And they're taking the consumer choice out of it. Now, I understand that like technology is going to evolve, just like how with music, we went from music players to like Spotify. But this is terrible for the common gamer that likes to have any kind of physical media. And it's a dang shame. And I know Xbox is next. And I just fear that this is the end of all physical media for gaming as we know it. And now PC is considered the master race. And I will be a PC gamer starting 2020 because this is downright disheartening and it's unacceptable what PlayStation is doing.
All right, you may have gone over 5 minutes, but you know what? That was well put together. I had no idea this was going on. Alec, fresh fun or fried?
Give me 1 second. I will say fresh as a starting point, but I will get something first. So before I go on here, so here it is. Speaking of props, this is an Xbox controller.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using this for a long time as with my Xbox One. I've not bought the Xbox Series X or S, but the point still stands. Now, Xbox is using Halo Campaign Evolved's physical disc as a selling point to keep physical media alive. But I want to ask you a question in the wake of this absolutely fresh take. Kevin, are you familiar with Ross Scott or the Stop Killing Games movement?
I've heard of the Stop Killing Games movement for sure. I haven't heard the other one.
All right. So Ross Scott launched this movement in response to the shutdown of The Crew, which was a racing game that required constant internet connection. But The Crew constantly was a single player game. And the thing is, with physical media has been the go-to for any store, whether it be Target, Best Buy, GameStop. I used to buy my physical media over at Best Buy, for that matter. I do my gaming shopping over at Best Buy, but as of late, as I become older, I'm more of a PC gamer these days. I go on PC. I use my computer for video games to play games like Arc Raiders, Crimson Desert, and just recently NBA The Run, which I just got. I'm also going to use it to start playing NASCAR 25 and 26. But physical media should last. It should not be destroyed, should not be taken off completely. The sign of digital media and the direction that PlayStation is seeing, it's sending a clear message. You don't own the media. That's what Sony is saying. Well, if buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing. That's the common phrase that's being thrown around here.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
the main goal that Stop Killing Games is promoting is to prevent video game publishers from unilaterally rendering purchased games unplayable, which typically shutting down servers for online-only games. And for online-only games, these online servers should continue to last, even if their sequels provide along. If people who love to play one game here, the original one should last. That's the point of video game preservation.
Yep.
And the same thing goes with physical media.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is tangled with one another here, Kevin. Not just with physical media.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I love this a lot. Absolutely fresh, and probably the best fresh Final Fried that we've had so far. And it's fitting that's in your old house. I didn't even know you were moving. Yep. Here's my take on this whole thing. Physical media should last. As someone who was an avid video game player as a kid, I cherished every single video game disc that I had. And the fact that now that option is being taken away by some gaming companies, and the Xbox now on the chopping block, and it drives me crazy, because if you had those game discs as a kid, you want to hold on to them, and hell, even if you want to revisit those games when you grow up and you want to play them again, you need the disc for it. Now they're taking that option away from you. And let's say, for instance, if you want to sell your game, God forbid you want to get to that point, but let's say you want to sell your game and you have the disc, it's going to be very, very valuable. But now they're basically taking that away from you, and now all your games are null and void that are on discs. Yeah, I think it's an absolute shame, the fact that gaming companies are going to this. And you can put this on not just video games, media with newspapers. That's fading away fast. Now everything's going to be computerized now. It's amazing how bad things have gotten with the media, going from physical to print or digital. Like, digital media is fine, but you need to have a healthy boundary, and right now the media doesn't have that. So absolutely fresh.
A couple of things I want to say as well. It's just, you could see this happening like a long time ago, like even with physical games. Like, I'll give you an example. Sly Cooper 3 on the PS2, right? I love this game. I go back and play it every single time. I love this series.
Right.
Look at what's in it. You have the disc. I still even have the receipt for it in here.
Oh my God.
In here. A nice instruction manual that gives you the game. It gives you a lot of cool pictures in it. Like look at this. All of that. And look at PS5, for example, the new Ratchet and Clank game. This is what's in it. Disc, nothing else. Where's the instruction booklet? Where is the nostalgia? Where's the fun factor in the physical game? It doesn't happen anymore. And with like a Nintendo Switch game, you're basically holding a download code in that little cartridge that you get. And basically, any PS5 game, you pop the disc in, and it gives you it's basically a download code that Sony is letting you give the license to, but you don't own anything, like Alex said. And I think that is a dang shame. And I think that it's going to be a situation where people are going to stop buying any PS6s or Xbox, whatever, until this thing gets resolved, because everyone is going to start playing a PC now. And I understand times are going to be changing, but this is something that just shouldn't be happening, because a final thing I'll say is, like, hold on to all the physical games and all the physical media you have, because one day they're going to be considered treasures. And I hold these games dearly, and that's why I hold on to them. I still have my old PS2. I still have my Wii. I still have the PS4 when I first bought it. And I hold all of them near and dear to my heart, because they meant something to me. Because I have all these games physically. Digitally, like, if there's a game that I don't really care about, but I want to try it out, fine, I'll get it digitally. But if there's a game that I really want to get and I want to keep forever, I want to get the physical version. But now Sony's taking that away from us. And we need to stop it. And the only way that we stop it is by not giving them money, is by not buying a PS6, by not buying any more consoles. Get all your games on Steam, on PC, because they seem to be the most trustworthy types of developers going forward.
Well said. Well, that perfectly wraps up the timing from Kevin, Alec, I'm Matt Siriani. God bless you all. Kevin, here's to safe moving. I know you're moving out of your house. That house will be dearly missed. We'll be back next week. But anyway, this has been Foursquare Sports, which is sports at Score. Take care, everybody. Happy America 250. We will see you next week. Take care. Have a good day.
Hi, everybody. Christopher Mad Dog Russo here. And you know what I do? Foursquare Sports on Sunday nights, 6 to 8, with all those parts of the country taken care of. Listen all the time. You got it. Mad Dog on Mad Dog Unleashed. Listen to my guys. Listen to my guys.